What's up, everybody? Welcome to Retakes Guides number 4, and today we're going to be going over Overpass. Not one of my favorite maps, but it doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing, so we're going to go ahead and start. As with every other part of the series, we're going to assume that a couple of things are, constant, and one of those being a jump up smoke. This is really common. We're actually not going to assume that a bank smoke is up most of the time because it just gets mollied. I'm not going to molly because it's going to break all these windows and it's kind of loud. But remember, we'll just assume that jump up is smoked for the entire time. Now, when you first get here, one of the things that you may or may not know is that if you're standing up here, so like if someone tries to hide in this jump up smoke, your shadow is actually completely visible. So you can start by just, seeing if there's anyone's shadow or not. And then, just kind of getting situated here towards this CT area. And then once you start, you can start, shooting it a little bit into this wall because it's really common for the T's to play against this wall. What you may not know though is that if there is someone here, you'll actually see their blood coming through as well as you'll actually hear them when you hit them. So if that's how you know when someone's there. So you just spam the entire thing. If you see someone, then you can spam where they're at. Otherwise, just a quick little spam just to make sure there's nobody close. And then when the smoke starts to fade, just make sure that you're not exposed to truck because a couple of other angles here. On top of truck, you can actually see a little bit deeper into CT than it may, seem at first glance. Just make sure that you're aware of that. And on the other side, coming in from bank, it's really common for the T's to get into these advanced positions where they're holding for these, rotators. Just want to make sure that everything is all good. You're just going to clear this out just by yourself most of the time. You don't even need to clear this part. You just need to make sure that the staircase is good before we can really start the retake. Okay, now starting the retake looks like a couple of ways. You're probably going to have an idea as to where most of them are because they'll make some noise. So we'll just get started. The first thing you can do is if you think there's someone in this left side, you can actually just molly off of this crate here, and then if someone comes running out, then you can get them. That angle's really hard to clear because it's just really like a flat angle, and you have to be exposed to so many other angles on the site to clear it. So using a Molotov to clear it is really strong. Another thing you guys may not know, and in the YouTube video, I'll actually insert a clip of it happening to me, but you can spam just like this. So what I do is I stand under the vent, and then I shoot next to this corner. And what this is going to do is it's actually going to clear out this corner in towards bank. Now I will roll the clip here while I'm talking, but it'll basically just kill anybody that's standing in that corner. I've firsthand witnessed it. It's very, very powerful. Anyway, after you clear out that corner, then you just are going to contact up a little bit more, and then this one, that's when the utility can start to come in. So the bank guy, he can just kind of chill. He makes sure he checks car. All right, now let's show some of the smokes that you can throw. Now the first thing you can throw from this corner is a long smoke, which can sometimes be useful, sometimes not. Like I said, it just depends on what you know, and most of the time you're going to have an idea as to where these T's are. So if you come a little bit down to the left here from this light, and then left click, this is going to be a perfect long smoke. Like I said again, sometimes the smoke will actually play towards their advantage because if they're really far back, it actually lets them get closer, and then they can come through the smoke with a flash from their teammate, and it doesn't really take that much coordination to make something like that happen. So just keep that in mind when you throw this long smoke because it could backfire on you. More likely, though, you're going to end up throwing a smoke that looks a little bit like this. You're going to come in here, look for the left part of this tree and aim up at the wire. Give it a little left click, and this is actually going to smoke off front bathrooms, which is also really useful, of course, because, you're smoking off front bathrooms, you're going to clear out one of those angles. Another angle that's really hard to deal with as well that if you have a Molotov for, is truck, because, like I said, truck is a weird place on this map. There's no place really like this on any other map. So you just got to be aware of how this can play out. Now, it's really common for someone to play on top of this truck and just kind of like hide right here because they're kind of hidden. So they're going to wait for you to like be exposed and they're going to peek out and get a kill. And another thing that they can do is they can actually play into this right corner and you can't see them at all. And they can just kind of wait for you to walk out, or they can just hold bank and then they can peek in, or they can hold this angle on you, which is really hard to deal with. And you can avoid all of that with one simple molly. All you have to do is in this corner, so let's just say that you smoke off front bathroom, and then you want to pull out the molly, and then you just aim above this and walk there a little bit. And what's going to end up happening is this molly is going to bounce a little bit, but it's fine. It's going to get on top of the truck and behind the truck, and it's going to force anybody who might be hiding there out, and you should be able to get the kill onto them pretty easily. So moving on, we have a couple of things now that we need to discuss, and that is most of the time when you're gonna, retake the site, it's gonna be a smoke diffuse, and the reason that is because the flank is really hard to like work with. Like the flank can be good for one kill, but most of the time, if the T's play it correct, it's not gonna get more than one kill, and there's always gonna be someone alive at the end to play around this divider area, this bathroom area, to try to deny the defuse. So one thing that you can do is, of course, you can smoke the bomb. Now, there's a couple ways to do it. The first one is if you come in between these boxes, aim up from the middle to the sun and right click. So you see the sun up from the middle. This will just smoke off the bomb. Really simple. You can just hop on and start defusing. But I actually prefer to throw a smoke like this. So if you're behind here, you just aim at this bottom left area and walk through. And the smoke's going to land a little bit off of the bomb, but that's actually what you want because it makes it a lot harder for them to figure out where you're at in the smoke if they peek out because now they can't even see the boxes for reference, right? So now they could just be shooting in the wrong spot and you know, sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. The smoke is good for messing with them, but it's bad because if they molly behind the smoke, it will still be effective. So remember to use that at your own risk. A couple other things, flashes, but one of like the flash that you can throw before you swing out from bank or jump up is just aim to the left of this light as well. I forgot to show this up, my apologies. You just aim to the left of that light, and what's going to end up happening is this flash is going to be, it's kind of, easy to see. It's not, you're not trying to hide it, but it's actually going to blind pretty much everybody who's looking at dice, including someone that's in truck or someone even in this corner. This flash will catch them, and it's just good to swing with. When you're going for the defuse, if you still have any utility left, which this map is not really common to have all these grenades on, so you wouldn't throw all of these grenades in a retake, it would be more likely that you would end up just throwing like one or two of them. And that's why retaking on this map is kind of hard. So one of the other things you can do is while you're defusing, you can flash over divider. And what this is, it's just good because they can't really dodge it, and it'll buy you a couple of seconds. Plus, you can peek with it and just get the final kills into the round. Let's talk about the flank now, and as per usual, we're gonna have to deal with like flanking on this map. And again, flanking isn't like something that's too flashy on this map. There's not a lot of grenades that you're gonna want to throw. You just want to, let's just say that you're coming up from connector first. So what you'll do is you'll just make sure you check towards long bathrooms. You're just going to be jiggling the entire time because there could be T's anywhere looking at you. And once you get out, you're just going to slowly creep in and try to catch someone off guard. Now, the reason you don't throw grenades on the flank is because you're flanking to try to catch them off guard. If you throw grenades, you give away your position and then you're alone. So let's say it's a 3v3 and you're flanking. All of a sudden, these three T's who are all hiding in bathrooms are now aware of you and they're going to deal with you first since you know, don't have the support of your teammates. So that's why you're not going to throw a lot of grenades. Now, it is okay, like in certain situations, if you're flanking, you can smoke the bomb and you can molly people off if you know where they're at. Like if you hear someone coming from long, like they're trying to rotate out, you can molly them off. Like these are things that you can do, but like, it's just, a reaction play. Like these aren't things that you like come up with the connector planning on doing. Now, another thing that you can do is you can come from long, and there's a couple of ways that this can end up happening, and that's just, part of how this map works. So if you're coming from long, it's basically more of the same. You're just gonna slowly creep in and just try to catch him off guard. Now the thing about coming from long though is that once you've like cleared this area out, you just have to run to catch up because hopefully your teammates will clear out the site and then you just play as you came from the site anyway. Coming from long is good, but also it just seems better to come from bathrooms in my opinion. And that's pretty much going to cover everything on A. To be honest, there's not that many grenades to throw, and that's just because A site's kind of open, and most of the time it just comes down to smoke diffuses anyway. Okay, moving on to B site, we have a couple of different things that we can talk about. The first thing is, we're going to pretend that you're getting here right as they're planting, as per usual. So, for smokes on the B site, we assume that probably bridge is smoked off, maybe heaven, and potentially even mid site. So in order to deal with that, which the first thing you can do is, to get them off of default, you want to wait for the smokes to fade, because again, I mean, depending on when they got there, these smokes are, depending on when they planted, these smokes are probably about to fade. So all you have to do is come into this door, and then left click right here at this at the bridge. It's gonna molly default, and you can catch anybody running out either from heaven or from graffiti, and you can just deal with them like that. Next thing that you can do, another option you have is if you know that someone's in pit, you can aim right here at the same spot, just in the door. You can aim right here, left, right, click, and that's actually going to molly off pit, and that's going to even get this corner, so that'll force them out to swing you. And you could throw this yourself, and then you could peek to catch them running out. That's perfectly okay. And you can also throw a molly just a little bit like right here, if you can see at the edge of the bridge, right clicking it a little more to the right. What this will do is it'll molly off the pillar, and anyone playing close onto the pillar, it'll spread back to them and it'll force them to peek, and it's really powerful. It's pretty much everything that you can throw coming from this area. You can also come to this side. There's a little util set you can throw. So yeah, again, left click, then you throw the molly right here, and then you throw the flash like right here. And like I said, it just blinds everybody. This molly is actually the same molly as the one I just threw. It's going to get the pillar position, and then that flash that I threw as well. It's going to blind most positions. If a guy's playing right here, if he's playing under heaven looking over here, if he's playing on the pillar and the molly is not able to be thrown, if he's looking short, he's blind. If he's towards jail, he's probably not blind, but he could be, and if he's peeking it right here, he's blind. Now, coming from heaven, it's pretty simple. If heaven's smoked off, you should have a pretty general idea of where this pillar is at, so you can actually just bounce the same default molly through heaven. You can also nade it as well if you have an idea as to where it's at. Throw it off the pillar as well. Any of these things work. But another thing that you can do is, if you come to this left cubby, you can actually just, or this right cubby rather, you can aim at the bricks like so, and run through a Molotov to get this left corner, or this like under heaven area. And that could be good depending on if someone's swinging, you can catch someone running out. And if you know that there's someone there, you can get free damage off by nading them like that as well. You can molly pit from heaven. It's pretty simple. You just aim at the sandbags and give it a little walk throw. Depending on where you're standing in heaven, this will sometimes not spread all the way. So just keep that in mind. You can also just throw it off of the default box. It's a little safer, but it's more exposed towards short. So just keep all of these in mind, which one's better for you. And then pretty much you just jump out. Make sure under heaven, you can clear it. You can self flash as well. It's really easy to do. Just give it a little right click out, and then you can jump out. And then comes, the hard part, which is defusing. So you would either smoke short or try to molly monster, and then hopefully you can get this bomb defused. Now coming from connector is it's kind of difficult because a lot of times someone's going to be posted on you from short. So what you'll end up having to do is you'll have to jiggle a little bit and then clear it out. Okay, connect. It's all clear. Short's clear. Now, PSA. If you don't know how to silent drop off of this railing in 2021, I'm going to show you, but I'm really disappointed in you. So the first thing you're going to do is it's never ever been this sign. Not one time has it ever been that sign. Even though I just did it, it's never ever been this. You can do it, but that's not the one that people do. Okay? I've never seen anyone do that before because it's riskier. All you do is you stand where all this trash is, slide off, and then walk off. Boom. It's as simple as that. It's never been hard. People just for some reason think it's the sign. I don't know why. Anyway, so you can slowly come down, and like I said, flanking, this isn't really a flank position in my opinion. This is more of like a regular retake spot. So the first thing you can do is throw a flash like this, and that's just going to make sure that anybody looking at you from an angle, like an awkward angle like this, where he's hiding from heaven, he's hiding from CT, and he's trying to spot towards short, he's going to be blind. If he's towards jail, he's going to be blind. And, in pretty much any of these positions, you just peek with this flash, and then you can, take a look in towards sight, kill default if that's what you have to do. But then after that, you guys can get ready for the defuse, and now I have a couple of cool things to show you. You can smoke off monster, like by aiming at this green line in the middle of the window. Just run through it, and then you can left click a flash off the right side of this guy's head. And this is going to be a perfect monster flash and a perfect monster smoke for you to come down here and just clear it all out, and then you can start defusing. Now, just remember that since short and monster are connected by this little pipe here, that even if he was monster, he could be short really fast, so just, keep that in mind. And overall, that should pretty much be it coming from short. Yeah, I think it is. In these awkward 1v1 situations where there's a guy pit, and you're like, maybe even it's a 2v1 and you need to deal with him, you can just molly like this. I mean, it's so easy to do, but I don't see a lot of people do it. And I know that sometimes you don't have the grenades to do it, and that's fine. But it works with anything, except for a smoke, You can flash him like this and then drop and peek him. He's going to be blind no matter what, and you can just get the defuse. Finally, coming from long flank. Now, this is the one that's the boring one. you're just going to want to make sure you're not getting spotted. You're going to walk in, and if your teammates aren't coming from connector, you know, you're going to make sure nobody's watching you from connector. And then you're just going to make sure that the guys that are, you know, in monster are distracted. So when you hear them starting to shoot at your other teammates, that's when you're going to want to come through. And then you can pop up, take him out, and then that should be it. If you have a smoke, you can smoke short, you can molly behind it, and overall that's it. Now I was also going to mention this earlier, but I forgot. If you have to molly short, there's one like molly that's probably better than the others. And that's just in between the wall and the sign. If you aim right here and throw a molly, what's going to end up happening is it's going to come here. And the reason that this is like a better molly is because if they're outside, they'll have to smoke it off like this, which is gonna make it so they have to come through it, and then like this is really hard for them to fight coming through. But also if you molly like that, you can actually come up and peek a guy's sandbags, and also you can see him through the bottom of this if you didn't know. You can come up and peek a guy, and you like split up the crossfire here if there's two guys. Plus, like I said, if they end up smoking it, they have to come through, and the smoke is really hard to come through because, you know, you could just be posted on it. So remember, if you have to throw a molly towards short, just do it like this, and then you can actually just come up and just peek this and then deal with the guys towards short. Hopefully everything that I said was going to be useful. Overpass is not a map that's too flashy with the retake. You just have to understand the concepts. And that should pretty much do it for me here on this map. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and share it with your friends, your teammates, your pug buddies, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.